In this video we're going to show how to, hopefully show how to take apart the transmission. This transmission is out of my bike. I think the input shaft bearing here went out and caused it to vibrate a lot and create a lot of havoc inside. The magnet on the bottom was completely full of metal. So now we're going to take this thing apart and hopefully rebuild it. Hopefully the parts aren't going to be so broken that we can't rebuild the thing, but we're going to give it a try. They're all about the same size, I think. This one. The instructions tell you in the climber manual, everything I'm going to be doing here is going to be by the book. So hopefully I can get through all of this stuff without the use of all of the crazy expensive BMW tools. So it tells you to remove this gear here first. This is the second gear. So how you remove them is once you remove that little cover that's bolted in, that covers up these three spots right here, and you have to thread a puller into these and then pull these pins out. Now I went and over to my local Harbor Freight and picked up a little slide hammer here, and I'm going to use this hook end on it that comes with it. And I went to the hardware store and I picked up a M4 little cap screw here, and I've just put a bunch of washers on it so that, alright, tape thing's not working right now. Put a bunch of washers on it. Now I'm going to thread this in. It threads right in there, no problem. And then I'm going to use my little slide hammer and hopefully it'll slide it right out of there. Yep, there it comes. See it? Doesn't take a whole lot. Almost no force at all. And now it has little there's little O-rings on here. So there we go. We pulled out this gear assembly. There's our first gear assembly out. We're gonna remove the pin and set those aside. There it is. Now I'm going to go through because you can, I don't know, I think the camera should probably be able to pick some of this up. It has metal chunks, little particles on here, pieces of metal from the bearing that is most certainly bad on it. So, and you can see down inside here there's definitely some metal parts laying in here. Not pretty. That is not good. Yeah, I hope that your transmission never ever looks like this. But if it does, I hope this is a great guide for you, and you can learn how to fix this thing on your own without having to buy a new transmission or maybe even a used one. I don't know if this one, I may wind up just throwing this one out just because I just don't know what's fully wrong with it. I'm hoping it's just a bearing and some other parts that I can easily replace and then get this thing back and get back on the road. This middle gear is the next one. This is third gear. So we're going to do the same thing. Screw it in. Put a little puller on it. Tap it right out of there. There it comes. Okay, there's that gear. We're just going to give a little inspection here. Looks alright. Oh, there's our little, make sure you got the O-ring on there. Next, last one, this gear here. And make sure you get yourself, when you go out and you buy this little screw here, make sure it's long enough so that it doesn't, you know, if you get to one that's too short, it's going to hit this bolt here and you're not going to be able to get that out. Okay, there's that gear. And lots of metal on here. Yikes. See how shiny that is. My wife loves sparklies, but I don't know about if she'd appreciate these too much. The next thing that's going to have to come out now is the actuating rod here. Now the actuating rod comes out. There's a clip that's right here in the middle. It's just past this pawl that's right here. And here's the little activator. Right at the very end of this is a little C-clip. You can't see it very good in the video, but it's there. And it says in the instructions to make sure that it does not, when it pops off, it doesn't fall into the transmission. Mine is certain to do that because that's just the kind of luck I have. So I'm not too worried about it. Actually, maybe what I'll do is I'll just take a little rag here. Oh, now I'm getting smart. Look at that. So that way I'm certain to not drop it in there, because I will. Now the other way, now the other thing we got to do here is at the end of the shaft, down here, there's this seal, and it says that there's a C-clip underneath, or a little ring clip underneath this seal. So we got to pry this seal out of here, which means it's going to get wrecked. Hopefully that's not the most expensive part on the bike. Actually, I kind of hope it is, because it can't be much. Hey, there it is. Well, I certainly wrecked the hell out of that thing. But that's the way it is. Needed a new one anyway, right? There it is, finally. Got the seal out. And sure enough, there is a ring clip down in there that we got to get out. Okay, there's that ring. Straighten it out a little bit. It's got a little bent when I was pulling it out, but it's out. Okay, set that in the pile of parts. Now we can pull that little clip off in there after we pull the shaft out, I think, a little bit. So again, we got to make sure this little one is up and out of the way. Put this nut back on here, so we got something to pull against. We're going to pull the clip out of here. Of course, when I say we, I mean me, because I'm doing this. There it is. Alright, got the little C-clip out. Set that in a growing pile of parts. Now, actually I don't even need to, doesn't feel like I need to put the slide hammer on this thing. There we go. And we'll take the parts apart. Take a note, just that this part, this open part, is facing down. Just slip that off. I'm going to take this off, the little actuator. Slip that part off. There's that one. Remember, it went on like that. So I don't think you're going to be able to put it in this way anyway, so it only goes on one way. Just slip that rod out of there. This is just a little spacer that's on here. We're going to leave that alone. So we're going to run this through the parts washer later, but just take a look at it. It's got a little bit of I don't know, it's like it's bluing or something, but this is not damaged at all. It's just discolored. So I don't really think this thing goes through too much hell. Got that part out. Next. The next step says that we got to be able to separate this the cover, the front cover, which is this cover here. All these bolts here have to come off, and then we got to separate this. But these things need to be, I guess they need to be heated up. So anyway, and we got to put, alright, we got to put a puller on this part here where the slave cylinder goes in and push down on this shaft. So I'm going to do that right now, just set it in place. Now what seems to work is I have a harmonic balancer kit that I got from, you know, I don't even know where I got this from. Track Auto, or not Track, but one of those places where you can get tools, you know, you can rent them, rent the tools for free. I think I rented this tool and never returned it, so anyway, it doesn't really matter. As you can see, that's going to work. So now we just have to get some of the bolts here and put it in there. So you can use the bolts that came off of the top cover here, that come off of the reverser cover. They'll fit in there, and just put some washers on it. If you use one like this, you might have one in your toolbox or something that will work a little bit better than this, but that's what I had. Now we're going to thread these in. Okay, going here, this is, now we got to take this front cover off. If the video looks a little different, it's because my camera, unfortunately, just bit the big one. And then we remove all the bolts. Okay. Should have one more. Nope, we got one more. This one. That would have caused a problem. Now I know I got them all. Flip it over into there. Now we got to take a heat gun and heat up these areas in here where the bearings are inside here. They're all in there with kind of a press fit, and then we're going to torque down on this and lift the cover off of the other cover. So we're going to heat it up here, through here, and then inside this area here. We're going to get this pretty warm, so it's going to take a while, so you're going to see an edit here. And we're going to check the temperature with our little thermal sensor here. We're going to try to get it up to around, I don't know, like 200 degrees or so. Now you don't have to do this process, you don't have to actually heat these up. It will come apart without it, but it does make it a little easier to separate these areas away from the bearings so that they fall out a little easier.
Don't burn the place down.
We're not really there. It's really hard to heat this something size up to that hot. It's taking forever, so being an impatient man, I'm going to try to crank down on this thing a little bit and see if I can get this front cover to separate. I think it moved. Yep. Okay. Alright. Finally separated. So we're getting somewhere here.
Right out.
There we go. Take this out. I don't damage anything that I don't need to. And hopefully, the cover will lift off of there. There it is. There it is, folks, the inside of the transmission.
Hold it upside.
A lot of metal parts in there, as you can see. A lot of metal.
Spin it around. Put this on.
Spin what around? Spin this around.
Spin the assembly around.
Okay. Spin this assembly around here a little bit.
What is actually
see what's going on.
damaged?
Well, I think what's damaged is the input shaft, and that's not on this side. It's on the other side. So as we go through it, we'll start pulling parts apart, and we'll be able to see just what's damaged and what's not. Like, there's a bearing here, and that feels very nice. That bearing feels exceptional.
This.
Yeah, I know, that's all the metal on there. Yeah. This really feels good too. So it's that bearing that's on the bottom side, down in there.
I was expecting a lot worse.
Yeah, I don't see any real significant damage right now on any of the gears or anything.
Gears are okay.
I don't see anything that's going on here.
How does it feel?
Feels fine. So it might be just that that one bearing that is gone.
Oh, there was chunks of metal. There were chunks.
Well, figure it out.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Doesn't look so intimidating. Look to remove these two pins, and then we're going to pull these shafts outward. So I'm going to pull this pin out. There's that one. There's that one. They look exactly the same. Now we can rotate these out. Looks like they're going to just fall right out. I'm going to pull this spring here, right here, and lift this out to release this tension. It just fits into this little notch here. You see it there, and hopefully you can see it.
I've got it pretty close.
I don't know if that helps, but anyway. Now we got that out of the way. We pull this little mechanism out, and then rotate the thing until this comes loose. Alright, maybe not. Okay, now this is all out of the way. And now we can pull this off. can see here, there's nothing that's actually supposed to be like that. And then we just got the little shifting pawls on there.
That are broken?
No, it's not. It's
Sure
not
as hell
broken.
is.
It's not broken.
No?
No, it's supposed to be like that.
Okay.
I think it's supposed to be just like that. It doesn't look broken to me. If it was, it'd be a big chunk down in there.
Mm-hmm.
So, we get little spacers, different things down here. I'm gonna put these in a bag just so when I clean this up, I don't lose any parts. I'll just kind of set that off to the side. Okay, the next thing we're going to take off here is the shift mechanism. So we're just going to lift this up in one big unit. Okay, and make sure you grab the washer that goes with it. Oh geez, what the hell? How come the washer doesn't fit back on there? There it goes.
Tight fit.
Yeah. Alright. So we just took this off. We're going to leave this spring attached for now. We'll clean this thing up in place, and then, you know, when it comes time, we'll put it back together. So we're going to set that aside too. Okay, next we're going to identify these. It says to identify the 3 shafts. We know that there's only one here on this side. We're going to just pull it off. It's the only one that's going to go over on this side. You see, as it's facing down, it's going to be, you know, the hollowed outside is going to be up. So we know where that one is. This one over here, the top one, is the shallow one. Pull it off. The bottom one is the deep one. It's real deep in here. So we know where they go. You can't really screw them up. Well, at least you can't screw them up. I can screw them up. And I probably will when I put them back together. Now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these 3 shafts out of here. Now they're not just going to come out of here. They have to be heated up as well. So we're going to flip this thing over. And we have to heat up this areas, these 3 areas here. And then pull all of them out at the same time. And God willing, everything will just fall right out of there. It'll be wonderful. Then we're gonna find out just how bad this input shaft bearing really is, because that is, I know that's the culprit. That's gonna be the hellion right there. You can see where it's, if you can zoom in here, you can see how it's kind of bound up down here. See where this is all bound up? These gears are way too close. This should not be this close. They should be definitely further away. You can see how the gears are out of a line right here. This gear and this gear are not lined up correctly. So that's definitely where the issues have arisen from, and that's where all of our parts are coming out of. We probably shaved some of this bearing surface down here out, and that's where all those metal particles are coming out of, right here. You can see it's actually contacting the bearing surface, or the surface of the case. So let's get this thing apart. We got to heat this thing up. Not hot enough now. I hope. I don't know. You know, this thing seems to eat up heat because it's made out of aluminum. Sitting at about 100 and in spots it's about 200 degrees. Other spots it's less. Same on this side. It's sitting at about 180, so that's definitely better than it was cold. So I'm going to turn this thing over now, put it in here again, and I'm going to grab onto these 3 things and just tap around it and try to knock the cover off. Hopefully it'll come off. Is it moving?
Can't tell.
There it goes. Well, we got 2 of the gears out. This one's going to be a real
That's
stuck
That's the best.
beezatch.
Yeah. Just
Whack it. Whew. There it goes. Okay. And as you can see, okay, this thing's like super hot right now, but this bearing is pushed all the way against the gears, and I cannot turn this thing. It's actually sliding in my glove right now. So I got to figure out how to get this this bearing pushed back off of this gear so we can actually change this thing out.
Where did all the parts come from? The pieces, the metal.
The metal shavings, I believe, came from the gear pushing against the case and also against the back side of this bearing here. It's actually scraped off the bearing. So, I mean, one item is going to be harder than the other. Yeah, I can't. This bearing is completely locked up. So it's definitely the input shaft bearing. You can see it's kind of coned out here. I'm sure you can make that out in the video.
Oh yeah.
Where the edge of this thing is supposed to be flush with the outer race is supposed to be flush with the inner race, and it is obviously toast. So
how's the shaft?
The shaft looks like it's very good. Doesn't look like there's any problem there. I think we're going to be able to pull off this bearing and put a new bearing on it, and it should all go back together again. This one feels real nice. The rear, which we tested out before. We're going to have to replace that seal that's down in there. Even though it doesn't show any real visible signs of damage, I'm going to replace it anyway because I don't want to take any chances with that. So that's it. That's pretty much how the basics of this thing come apart. The next video will show, as long as I can get another camera, hopefully, is going to be how to get this this input shaft bearing off of the shaft. It's not going to be fun. So, thank you.